Hello everybody, this is Granny Alice reading again, this time again in honor of her little granddaughter, but this time knowing that she has been given a name now. She's got a name, her name is Aerith, and I remember reading stories to my children before they fell asleep. So here's hoping that my son will read these stories to my granddaughter Aerith. The story is called Little Alice and Her Winter Holidays. Winter sees winter, the blessed time when all nature falls asleep. The trees stand leafless and petrified, as if they were afraid of the icy northern winds that will invariably come. They stand there, prisoners of nature, and all they can do is to shiver and quake, for they have nothing, being leafless, to joyfully wrestle with. But winter does have its joys too. The trees know it, so they brace themselves and wait patiently for the joys to manifest. Winter sees little Alice at home more. She keeps herself busy by helping her grandmother in the kitchen, or playing with her toys, or drawing princesses in castles. And princesses in castles has always been little Alice's favorite thing to think of. Or reading her favorite fairy tales, enchanted by the illustrations in the books. There is so much to do at home, but however busy Alice might make herself indoors, she absolutely and above all always longs to be outside. She was truly an outdoors kind of girl. This yearning makes her vigilant, so when the sky becomes dark, while it is still day, little Alice knows that she is about to witness the awaited joy that literally falls from the sky. Everything else she might be doing at the time becomes unimportant, and she skips and jumps towards the window to behold the miracle of snow. And little Aerith knows a lot about snow, or at least will know about snow when it starts falling, because, like I said, she lives in a very cold country. There'll be a lot of snow. It usually starts slowly, flake by flake. Sometimes, when there is no wind, they float onto the ground, covering it gradually, at first with a thin film of snow that only slightly shades the dark frozen ground with white. The best snowfalls are the ones that just patiently keep going all day long to become by the nightfall a thick blanket, which little Alice believes is not only appreciated by the naked ground, but also by the naked trees. Leafless as they are, they slowly metamorphose into unexpectedly beautiful beings that can only be seen in winter. Their thin, scraggy branches get wrapped by the patiently and generously falling snow that weaves, as if strand by strand, gifts of fluffy, cottony coverlets to tuck them in for the night. Just imagine that. One doesn't see them shiver anymore with cold, for what is at first only a thin coverlet, with time, begins to look more and more like a thick quilt, under which all the trees simply must feel warm, ponders little Alice as she herself falls asleep, warmly tucked in and satisfied. Just like all little children that get tucked in by their mom and dad for the night. This blanket of snow covers the ground so evenly that nothing can be seen whichever way one looks, save the expanse of bluey-grey whiteness in all directions. The reflection of it bounces off all the window panes the next morning. Little Alice, unable to contain her excitement or stand still, gets well clad in layers of warm clothes that include hat, scarf, and gloves, by Mom, rushes out of the house to play in the snow. She likes to be out early, before other children spoil the game of making footprints on this pure white, snowy canvas. At first, little Alice starts slowly making shapes of flowers with her little feet, but then the excitement of being outside gets the better of her, and she can't stop herself from breaking into a run. And while she runs and her breathing becomes deeper, she suddenly starts inhaling the cool, delicate, fresh smell of snow. Because the snow has this amazing nose-pinching, clean, almost sterile fragrance of purity that no other fragrance can rival, and it would invade Alice's nostrils and add to the enjoyment of running. And I'm sure that's an experience that little Aris has already had, smelling the beautiful smell of the air outside. Run, 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 run. She felt she could just run like this forever. But soon she stops and, panting, stands there for a minute, when naturally, for it seems so obvious to any child, conjures up an idea, not a novel one perhaps, but so thrilling every time nevertheless, of making a snowman. By then, there are other children outside, and at this point it is desirable for her little playmates to be there, to help each other roll the snowman parts as big as they can manage with their little arms and little hands. They all get so focused, thus occupied, and almost acquire a hive mind, like bees, you know, when they get together and they do things in unison. So children that are making the snowman, working in unison, help each other to eventually roll all three parts of the snowman's body to a desired spot. They then, working together in twos and threes, pile the heavy, slippery, giant ball shapes, one on top of the other, panting and groaning with effort and laughing all the time. That done, they stop for a moment to think what next and how to improve their creation. A lot of coal was used to heat up water in boilers in many kitchens and bathrooms at the time. So it was the most logical thing to run home and to run back again with a handful of the black shiny gems to be used for the snowman's buttons and to give him lips and eyes, without which, of course, no snowman can exist. Some willing child would run home to bring a carrot for the snowman's nose, of course. It had to be red, as red were all the noses pinched with cold. The arms were usually made of twigs the children would find under the trees that grew along a nearby street. Now, the snowman being complete, all the children would step back to get a better view of him. For goodness only knows why, Alice always asked herself. The snowman is usually a boy and not a girl. Oh well. They would all take a step back to look at and admire their creation, talking and laughing all the time. This task completed, they would all run off to some other game, such as making angels with their bodies and arms lying flat face up to the sky in the deep snow. After stopping briefly to shake off the snow, they would run off again to look for some other task to perform. As children seem to have this constant internal impulse, a perpetual need to forever be creating something new. Their creating powers are endless, inexhaustible, admirable, and always so much fun. And I'm sure one day little Aerith, however small now, will join the children to play all these games. The snowy winter continues, and with it comes Alice's next adventure. Here comes the delight of a snowy weekend. Little Alice, like a spinning top that never stops, jumps out of her bed early, and after having kissed her grandmother, she runs to her parents' bedroom to get them up. She's convinced there is no time to lose. The days are too short for dilly-dallying. Having jumped into Mum's and Dad's bed, Alice can't quite comprehend why they are not as enthusiastic about getting up as she was. That is very strange. Oh well, who can understand adults and their frequent lack of enthusiasm for games? Soon breakfast is over, and it being weekend, Alice's dad has time to take her to the nearby forest on a sledding trip. Yay! Little Alice always loves outings with Dad, but particularly she loves it when it is sunny. The sun, this magical being that has an ability to paint the white snow with dancing sparks of gold and silver and to make it shimmer. It never ceases to amaze Alice how it is possible that only when the winter sun is out, the snow sparkles so. And it sparkles so, it's so beautiful. Sometimes snow even shined and sparkled all the colors of the rainbow. And Alice, marching next to her father, could hear the sparkling snow crunching under their feet. Sometimes, as part of the fun, Alice lies on the sledge and, lying on her back, looks up into the sky and waves joyfully at every passing cloud. On entering the forest, she would usually get off and look around holding her father's hand. They would often head towards the tallest hill in the area, which was named the Bald Head by the local children, since for some reason, however situated in the middle of the forest, had no trees on it whatsoever. The hill was, while the snow lasted, an awesome place for sledding, and there were usually crowds of children on and around it. This meant crashes were frequent and unavoidable, which of course was an additional gratification. It was hilarious to watch how little Alice went down that hill. She would invariably scream all the way from its top to the bottom, "Get out of my way!" in a very loud and panicky voice, as it always seemed as if by some pixie enchantment there was someone plonked right in the middle of her path. Surprise, surprise. Who knows how that happens? On the way home, Alice, somehow energized by all this climbing and sliding and shouting and frequent falling off the sledge, that she needed some quiet activity. This often meant that Dad was ordered to sit quietly on the sled, with little Alice pulling him along the snowy path among myriads of snow-covered trees, like a creature enchanted by some wicked witch to perform a task beyond her strength. But this was only Alice's particular way to relax. I wonder what will be Aerith's particular way to relax. That we'll wait and see. Soaking wet, with rosy cheeks and totally satisfied, Alice, on entering home, is sent to wash her cold hands under cold water, which surprisingly always makes them feel tingly and warm. Some days, Mum and Dad and little Alice took walks into the forest just to explore and to check how deep the snow was. Alice remembers winters when the snow would come up to her thighs. There was so much of it. It was beautiful just walking into the forest, where sometimes they could see signs of animals on the smooth white surface and follow them just to see more of the same. It was a mystery where they went. Who knows? Perhaps little Aerith can dream about it and tell us when she starts talking. Still, Little Alice never got bored of trudging through the snow, bumping into trees to see small heavy clouds of snow falling from the branches onto her dad's head and shoulders. This activity was fun, especially as it usually culminated in a snow fight. Snow fight, that's fun. Soft little balls of snow that her father skillfully threw, seldom missing her and her mom, would bounce off various parts of her body and make her laugh, while endeavoring to run away through the thick snow or hide behind trees. All to no avail, as Dad was both fast and very accurate. I wonder what Eris and her dad are going to play, what games they're going to invent. It will be very interesting to watch, and I can't wait. As time went by, there was inevitably less and less snow on the ground, and inevitably the snow became grainy and wet and sticky, and the forest would suddenly surprise Alice with a beautiful show of the first signs that winter was almost over. The cute and bewitching, delicate white snowdrops shyly popping out their curious little heads to check if spring had already arrived, were its absolutely undeniable herald. People say that there is less snow now, and that might or might not be true. What Alice knows for sure, though, is that even one snowy winter will fill one's memory with images of beauty and enjoyment. Those images, if cultivated, will grow and ripen on trees of imagination, to be picked by a ready hand and become an unforgettable gift, truly worthy of cherishing and passing on. For beauty and heartwarming childhood memories will never go out of fashion, is what Alice believes. And that is the end of my story. So I will say good night to Eris, and bye-bye, and see you again